Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Fatu and Solo Sikoa may have ultimately split up. Things have gone off the rails on WWE SmackDown this week, and this may be the start of everything changing. Fatu faced Braun Strowman on WWE SmackDown tonight, in a match that has been in the making for some time. The two stars have been feuding for months now, and while Fatu has had the advantage for most of the feud, things have not always gone well for him. He has suffered from being put through tables and pushed back. He was looking for some revenge tonight, but unfortunately he didn't get it. Just as his match was heading to a point where things would be decided, Tama Tonga was sent by Solo Sikoa to interfere. Sikoa then showed up too and hit the Samoan spike on Strowman, stepping into the match to apparently save Fatu. It's safe to say that when the match ended in a DQ, with Strowman winning because of it, Fatu was furious. He confronted Solo Sikoa backstage and made sure that he knew what he was thinking. Sikoa said that he was trying to help, but Fatu was not having it. Fatu said that he had better watch it and pay attention to his own business. He implied that he was done with Sikoa and that his business was no longer the former tribal chiefs to care about. Now, it remains to be seen what happens next, but this is apparently a split between Solo Sikoa and Fatu. The WWE Universe has been shaken to its core after the latest episode of SmackDown, where tensions within the bloodline boiled over, leading to a shocking fallout between Fatu and Solo Sikoa. For months, Fatu was seen as the secret weapon of the bloodline, a force of nature with raw, uncontainable power, handpicked by Roman Reigns to help Solo Sikoa carry out his ruthless agenda. But on this week's SmackDown, something changed. Something snapped. And now, in a moment no one saw coming, Fatu has finally spoken out, airing his frustrations and making a drastic decision that could reshape the bloodline forever. This week's SmackDown started with a seemingly united front, as Solo Sikoa, Jimmy Uso, and Fatu walked to the ring, their expressions unreadable. Paul Heyman, standing behind them, held his phone tight, presumably still reporting every move to Roman Reigns, who has been absent from WWE television for weeks. The tension in the air was palpable. Something wasn't right. Solo Sikoa took the microphone and addressed the WWE Universe, declaring that the bloodline was stronger than ever, and that anybody who stands against us is gonna get buried. But before Solo could finish his speech, Fatu snatched the microphone out of his hand. The crowd gasped. This was not part of the plan. Who had remained silent since his debut alongside Solo, finally let his emotions loose. Stronger than ever. Man, that's some BS. Barked, his eyes burning with fury. You want to talk about being strong, but all you do is bark orders like you run this thing. You don't run nothing, Solo. We're supposed to be family, but I ain't been treated like family since the day I got here. The crowd erupted into a mix of cheers and shocked murmurs. Fatu wasn't holding back. He turned to Jimmy Uso, pointing at him with intensity. You've been out here playing second fiddle, doing whatever Solo says, like you forgot who you are. And Solo, you ain't the tribal chief, you ain't Roman, but you sure as hell act like it. The tension was off the charts. Jimmy looked uncomfortable. Solo remained stone-faced, his hands clenched into fists. Continued, pacing around the ring like a caged animal. Since day one, I've been out here doing the dirty work, jumping fools, making statements, proving that I belong. But I ain't get no credit, no respect. Solo, you walk around acting like you the next big thing, but let me remind you, without me, you ain't running nothing. The camera panned to Paul Heyman, whose face turned ghost white. This wasn't what was supposed to happen. And then, said something that made the entire arena gasp. Matter of fact, I ain't part of this no more." The crowd exploded in shock. Was Jacob Fatu quitting the bloodline? Solo finally reacted, stepping forward, standing nose to nose with Jacob. "You better think about what you just said, Solo growled. But Jacob shook his head. "Nah, man, I already thought about it. I ain't no follower, and I ain't gonna be treated like one. I came here to take over, not to take orders." The crowd roared. Jacob Fatu was done being the enforcer. He turned his back and started to walk away, but Solo wasn't having it. He lunged forward, going for a sneak attack. But Jacob saw it coming. The moment Solo reached for him, Jacob turned around and leveled him with a devastating superkick. Solo hit the mat hard. The WWE Universe lost their minds. Jimmy Uso, torn between loyalty and disbelief, hesitated for a moment before stepping forward to check on Solo. Jacob stood over them both, shaking his head. He muttered something under his breath, then rolled out of the ring and walked up the ramp, never looking back. The bloodline was officially broken. As SmackDown cut to a backstage interview, Kayla Braxton managed to catch up with Jacob Fatu as he was storming out of the arena. "Jacob, can you explain what just happened out there? Are you leaving the bloodline?" Jacob stopped. He turned to the camera, breathing heavily. His intensity hadn't faded. "Man, I ain't leaving nothing. The bloodline left me." Kayla, confused, asked him to elaborate. Jacob took a deep breath, trying to compose himself. "Since I got here, I've been nothing but a soldier, doing the work, handling business. But what did I get in return? Nothing. Just orders from Solo like I'm some rookie. Like I ain't been running the islands before he even laced up a pair of boots." The fire in his voice was unmistakable. "So yeah, I'm done with that. I'm done taking orders from Solo Sikoa. I ain't done in WWE though. Nah. Now it's time for Jacob Fatu to stand on his own." The WWE Universe cheered in the background as the segment ended. With Jacob Fatu officially breaking away from Solo Sikoa, the question remains, what happens next? Will Jacob Fatu seek revenge on the bloodline for how they treated him? Will Roman Reigns return to fix the chaos that has unfolded? And most importantly, is Jacob Fatu about to become a dominant force in WWE on his own? One thing is certain, the bloodline has changed forever. And Jacob Fatu, he's just getting started. Tune in next week to WWE SmackDown to see the fallout from Jacob Fatu's shocking departure. Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa may have ultimately split up. Things have gone off the rails on WWE SmackDown this week, and this may be the start of everything changing. Jacob Fatu faced Braun Strowman on WWE SmackDown tonight in a match that has been in the making for some time. The two stars have been feuding for months now, and while Fatu has had the advantage for most of the feud, things have not always gone well for him. He has suffered from being put through tables and pushed back. He was looking for some revenge tonight, but unfortunately he didn't get it. Just as his match was heading to a point where things would be decided, Tama Tonga was sent by Solo Sikoa to interfere. Sikoa then showed up too and hit the Samoan spike on Strowman, stepping into the match to apparently save Fatu. It's safe to say that when the match ended in a DQ, with Strowman winning because of it, Fatu was furious. He confronted Solo Sikoa backstage and made sure that he knew what he was thinking. Sikoa said that he was trying to help, but Fatu was not having it. Jacob Fatu said that he had better watch it and pay attention to his own business. He implied that he was done with Sikoa and that his business was no longer the former tribal chiefs to care about. Now, it remains to be seen what happens next, but this is apparently a split between Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu.